Lesson 7 gets personal. Have we been honest with God in regards to the things that He has entrusted us with, like our time, our talents, our money, our bodies? Have we been honest in giving back to God what God has given to us? Here's Ken Long, who is going to give us more insight onto our lesson entitled Honesty with God.
When God created the world, He gave mankind free rein over everything in the garden, but He kept one tree for Himself. That tree, the tree of knowledge of good and evil, was set apart. While that was a restriction in mankind's stewardship, it was also His greatest blessing. The presence of the tree gave Him the freedom of choice. If there was no restriction, if there was no tree, then there would have been no power of choice. Every time Adam and Eve looked at the tree, they remembered that God was the owner and the one who provided everything: their food, their shelter, their clothing. That's the freedom of dependence that God offers. It's my belief that God ordained tithing as a substitute for the tree of knowledge of good and evil. First, tithe, like the tree in the garden, was a reminder that God is the owner of everything. Every time you return tithe to God, you're reminded that He is the owner. Secondly, tithing keeps the owner-manager relationship clearly defined. If God is the owner, then my role is to be a faithful steward. Tithing, you see, is a matter of honesty, a matter of obedience. God asks us to give the right percentage in the right priority to the right person for the right purpose and to the right place. We may feel that we're losing something when we tithe, but God promises that if we are obedient and honest, He will protect us and provide for us. As it says in Luke 6:38, and I'm quoting from the Message, God promises to give back to us with bonus and blessing. And with respect to our honesty, the prophet Malachi poses this confronting question: will a man rob God? Our first thought is that we're robbing God by not returning His tithe or being generous in our offerings. But to me, the failure is much more fundamental than that. When we don't return God's tithe, the tithe which is set apart and holy, it's identity theft. When we don't return God's tithe, we're actually saying, God, I don't recognise you as the owner, and that's identity theft. We're robbing God of His identity, just like Adam and Eve did when they ate the forbidden fruit from the tree. The question that I want to leave with you is not, will you rob God, but will you rob yourself? When you're not obedient and honest in your tithing, then you are robbing yourself of the incredible bonus and blessing that God offers and the freedom that comes from obedience to God.